So the audio's kind of scratchy because I am on my way back home from Logan from attending BSidesCache, and that's kind of why today's video is a little bit late, is because I went to that and it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, but it is pretty nice that I'm able to actually have some time to actually render video, upload it, and things like that. But the point is it's B-side. This is the first time that BSidesCache has happened. B-sides is basically a community organized and driven cybersecurity conference. BSidesCache is in essence a break off of BSides SLC, which typically takes place in Salt Lake City. And there are other BSides events like BSides LV, in Las Vegas, and a number of other places. So you can have some like back and forth of it. But this being the first time that BSidesCache has happened, that's another cybersecurity conference in Utah, and one more centralized in northern Utah, and a way that people are getting together and networking. So for this first one, they had the keynote being both Pope and Grifter, and it was kind of this question and answer session where Pope asked questions of Grifter, and Grifter kind of presented more stuff when answering those questions, like stories, experiences, advice, and things like that. A couple of the big takeaways that I had from the keynote is that purple teaming for Grifter is a teaching moment. You can be red team and you can come in and you can like knock down doors and things like that and be fine with it. You can be blue team and you can know how to detect someone that's in your network. But if you both don't understand each other, that's where the purple team comes in, is kind of like that crossover between the two. And as purple team, you don't just come in and knock down doors like your red team. You use that as a teaching moment. So you can go into your blue team and explain, hey, I'm going to run this attack. Now tell me if you see it, can detect it. Oh, and if that isn't detected, then that's a moment where it's like, okay, here are the signs that you need or to look out for and things like that. The other thing was that Grifter made the point that for a lot of people, they kind of go over cybersecurity as a general thing, and that, oh, we've got like these like general mitigation things, like trying to cover every base all at once, and that ends up spreading things thin such that you are very vulnerable because you're doing a general top thing rather than looking at your individual industry, whether it be health, finance, or even farming, and looking at the top 10 things, top 10 attacks in your individual industry and tailoring it more to your industry and what you're working in, and patching up vulnerabilities or the top 10 ways that someone attacks someone in your particular industry. Because if you just do that for the top 10 for your particular industry and tailor it to your business, then you're more secure than most other businesses out there. And that makes a lot of sense because each industry is going to be slightly different. They've got different regulations on things, different needs, different data that is going to look juicy for an attacker to want to take. Or they've got different attacks that they're going to be targeted for. So like in the healthcare industry, maybe they have a little bit more ransomware than say in the financial industry. Then you're going to run into a situation where you have to think about, how are we going to recover data from ransomware if all of our stuff is locked out, but we need access to it in order to provide patient care? It's things like that where you're looking at the top things to secure yourself. So there's kind of the two big takeaways from the keynote there with it. Of course, there were a couple other things going on, like a capture the flag, like they have at any other security conference, and me overthinking how to do the different exercises for the capture the flag. And I felt really dumb because it's like, I'm looking at these things, and it's like, oh, wow, I was probably overanalyzing things, and I haven't quite gone through to look at, okay, what was I missing that maybe I overlooked and need to rethink for the future, so that next time I can come around better equipped for thinking these things through, rather than like trying to dig around for things that isn't actually the thing that I need to get the flag that I'm looking for. Because it's just like playing Skyrim when you're walking around that dungeon trying to figure out, how do I drop this bridge? And you're just looking around trying to find that tiny little switch, when if you just look up, it's a switch right there. And I know I'm going to feel super dumb for not seeing what it is that I was supposed to do to find those flags. But I think on some of them I was kind of pointing myself in the right direction. Obviously, I didn't quite place to get any prizes for it, but anyway. The other thing that there is an automated mower. So there was a company that does automated mowers, and they're more for like, they've oriented their business more towards sod farms, golf courses, kind of like areas with large grasses that need to be mowed. So it's an GPS directed automated mower that can cut grass, manage it, and things like that. And so they brought it there for people to find vulnerabilities in it, to play around with it. And so, of course, in essence, they had a bug bounty there off the start, and you basically got put into I'm saying basically a lot in filler words, but you are put into a raffle to win a few different prizes. Flipper Zero, ESP dev boards, and what was that middle one? They had hats for whatever reason after the fact and decided to throw hats in. The second one was, I can't remember what one it is, but the Flipper Zero is important later on. Because I only looked at their web interface. They were having issues with the mower, trying to get it connected up to the system so that people could mess with it. So I never really got too far into it to mess with it, just like the capture the flags. But with the sponsors that they had there, we were able to talk to some of them, like ask some questions and things like that. They of course had their flyers. One of them was like, yeah, I'm here. I don't really have, some people are like, okay, what's your pitch for hiring? It's like, I don't really have a pitch. I'm just a sales guy, so I just do this and help people get set up. From there, you had a few different talks. I kind of went to a couple of them. One of them was talking about engineering AI prompts. So in the age of AI, everybody's starting to talk to these LLMs, these image generation bots, and what's really cool is the presentation for this particular talk seemed to use AI-generated images, and it was really cool to see that going through. And he talked about how he builds his prompts for different things. As someone in cybersecurity, you can now take these large language models and feed them PDFs, and you can ask them to summarize it. But if you don't know how to engineer your prompts properly and how to build a proper prompt template to use, then it becomes difficult to actually synthesize the data in a readable manner through LLMs. So we went over engineering your prompts for an LLM to allow it time to actually go over and in essence reflect and think over its responses rather than just spitting out whatever. And he covered a couple different models, like ChatGPT's GPT models, Gemini, which I think might be built on the Gemma model that you can get in Ollama. talked about Claude, and then at the end he went over a few different models that he prefers, in his opinion, for different things like language generation, search, image generation, and video generation. So he has a bit of fun with some of the video generation models, where he'll take two different images generated by image generator models as a beginning and end image and put that into a video generator and say, okay, do the in-between here. But anyway, he didn't talk too much about the new Chinese model that was dropped a couple days ago, but that's okay. I've seen stuff on it on Fetty for the Chinese model that looks actually pretty good with the way it does things. He did bring up Flux, which I think I did a video on. I may have recorded something on it. I don't think I did, but I've been messing around with Flux that have actually had generate a couple different images for me for another presentation that I'm going to do. But anyway, so yeah, biggest takeaways were some of those, and the Flipper Zero that I got for the raffle from the other thing. So I am now able to do Flipper Zero videos much sooner than I was expecting to, because the Flipper Zero was on my shopping list for a bit, and it's nice to know that now I don't have to think about it. Because I got one for about the price of $22, and that's pretty cool. So look forward to that. I may have a different video for unboxing it, even though it's technically been unboxed already since the tape on it is cut. But now I can get into even more trouble because I have a pet Flipper Zero to mess with, which is pretty cool. If you liked the content, if you enjoyed it, if you think I deserve it, like, comment, subscribe, leave any criticisms you have or what have you. I appreciate it. Feed that algorithm, like I said, and I will see you guys in the next one.